One of the first times that I knew that God had spoken to me, He used another person to speak the words that I was just the night before praying and asking God to speak to me. So I'll tell you the story because it impacted how I went forward with my life. It was basically helping me with my future, what was going to happen. And it happened back in Hawaii in 2009. I was working there as a nanny for a lieutenant commander's family. And so I'm on the base with all these other Navy wives and moms. And it was a really good opportunity for me because at that time in my life, I hadn't met my future husband yet. I wasn't even dating. But I knew that I wanted to marry a military man. That was just my type. So I had the opportunity to ask these other moms at the playground when the kids were playing, did you see yourself marrying a military guy? And to my kind of surprise and dismay, one after the other, they were saying, oh no way. One lady said it actually was almost the reason they didn't get married. She wasn't sure she wanted to go through with that if he was going to be in the military. So I was a little blown back because I had so much eagerness for this kind of life. And this little group, this sample of people, it's not everyone's opinion, but their opinion was that, they were just dealing with it. And so I ended up going online and finding this Army Wives blog, and I'm reading their commentary about their struggles, and they're supporting each other, and I'm crying reading this because it's terrible how I'm picturing myself being in this position now, and it's not fun. It's a struggle, and especially when you add kids to the picture. I'm looking around at the base and I see women who have kids, but their husband is deployed for 6 months or a year. And I can't even imagine myself in that position because I was somebody who had fatigue, and I didn't even have kids, but I dealt with fatigue all the time for years. So that's when I started asking myself the question, am I strong enough for this life? Do I really want that life? And one night, after about 2 weeks of this was on my mind and bothering me for 2 weeks. So Saturday night, I'm in the room and I'm praying to God, crying, really distressed, and saying, God, am I strong enough? Please, I said, please speak to me in words that I can understand. Am I strong enough? I don't want to hear a hint. I don't want it to be you speaking, but I could kind of think that maybe you're not speaking. I want it to be clear, please. I said, speak to me in words that I can understand. Am I strong enough? And the next day, I go to church, and it's the Mauna Lua Gardens Missionary Church. And that day did not seem particularly eventful. I'm walking to my car at the end of the service, and a woman comes running up behind me. Okay. And I had never met her before. She was a missionary who was coming back to her home church that Sunday. And she stops me and goes, excuse me, I know this might sound a little weird, but I feel like the Lord's really, really impressing on my heart to tell you something. And then she said, you are stronger than you think, and let God be your strength. So I had never experienced anything like that before. I feel a little emotional. I tell her, this is what I was praying for last night. Am I strong enough? And so she's kind of like, she hugged me, and I walked away from that bolstered that my Father in heaven he knows me, was telling me, look, I know how I created you. I know who you are better than you know yourself. I know your future, and I know that you are stronger than you think. But the second part was so key, that I needed to let him be my strength. And I relied on that so much, because a few years later, I met my future husband. And he was a military man. Well, he had actually just left the Air Force, and he had now started a career, well, not too long, a 4-year position working at the U.S. Embassy in Iraq as private protection for U.S. diplomats. And he was gone every year for 9 months, a combined 9 months, when you added all the rotations up. So for the first 4 years of us being together, dating, and then being married, he was gone. And I only got to see him 3 months every year. And during that time, I kept thinking back to, let God be your strength. You're stronger than you think. Because it was really a hard 4 years. And especially around the holidays, it's still, when I think about it, it was like my dark times, because I missed him so much. And I would go back home to my empty house, and I'd come back from my trips, and as soon as I come back into the house, I just start crying. And I had to keep relying on, okay, return to God. He is my strength, a big picture, start pouring this into my heart. And flight attendants would say to me when they'd hear, like, they'd keep tabs and be like, hey, is he home yet? Is he home? It was always the question when I'd pass flight attendants, is your husband home? And I would say no, and he's still in Iraq. And they would say to me, I don't know how you do it. You are so strong. And that was always the opportunity to share with them, oh boy, I have a story for you. And that's exactly the word the Lord gave me. But so that time passed, and he ended up coming home after 4 years and getting a real, like, normal civilian job. And we had 2 beautiful daughters. And but just now, because of the coronavirus, he was laid off back in March. It's been 5 months, and so we've decided that he is going to accept that position again back overseas, and he's going to be leaving for training soon. And I find myself now in that position again of, he's going to be gone, and this time I do have kids, and I'm still holding on to that word. I am stronger than I think. My Father in heaven who created me said so. And he is my strength, and that is unlimited. So, thank you for listening.